We have the first pictures from Intuitive Machines' moonlander Odysseus. Let's take a look, and then I'm going to break down the question of why the images are the quality they are and why it's taken 4 days to get them. First, let's start with a photo from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. This is a spacecraft in orbit of the moon that passed over the landing site on February 24th at an altitude of 56 miles or 90 kilometers. The image is 3,192 feet or 973 meters across. Thanks to the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter's data, Intuitive Machines was able to pinpoint Odysseus' landing site on the moon. It's within a 1-kilometer wide crater and it landed on terrain sloped at about 12 degrees. This is a before and after image put together by NASA. According to Intuitive Machines, the lander touched down and toppled over within 1.5 kilometers of its intended landing site. Now, these are the images from the lander itself. This first one was taken during approach to the landing site, and the second photo was during the vertical descent phase. Let's talk a little bit about the quality of these photos because I know there are a lot of questions here. They're both from a fisheye lens clearly, but the lander does have better cameras. There's EagleCam, which I will get to in a minute. And then there's also cameras from the International Lunar Observatory, which were designed to take some of the first photos of the center of our galaxy from the moon. There's also the Canadian-Sense dual camera imaging system that was supposed to take 360-degree images during descent and landing. In other words, if everything worked correctly and isn't a mess because the lander fell over, there should be a lot more to see. So why haven't we seen it yet? This is just my speculation, but I definitely still think they are having communications issues. It seems like they've worked out the big kinks, but data download might be taking a lot longer than they expected. To be clear, I do not think it took 3 days to download 2 photos. My guess is they timed the press conference Friday with the market closed to tell us the lander wasn't upright, and then released these images this morning when the markets opened. I definitely think that was strategic. But I do think data download is taking a lot longer than they expected for a few reasons. First, if I haven't made it clear yet, Odysseus is on its side. If somehow you aren't aware, they think one of the lander's 6 legs might have gotten caught during descent, and so the lander tipped over. I pulled Intuitive Machines' FCC filing to check out the communications equipment. The lander has 4 regular antennas and 1 high-gain antenna. At the press conference on Friday, Intuitive Machines said that some of the lander's antennae were pointed at the surface of the moon, which makes those unusable. According to the information we have, this is the side that's pointed at the ground, which means these antennas are the ones pointed at Earth. The most powerful antenna, the high-gain antenna, is over here, not pointed at Earth. That's making all of this so much more complicated. Right now, Intuitive Machines is using the most powerful dishes they have in their private communications network to communicate with the spacecraft. According to their FCC filing, that would be dishes in the UK, Australia, and India. But even then, I'm just not sure that's enough bandwidth given the orientation of the antennas. In a previous video, I talked about how using a private network versus the tried and true and extremely powerful deep space network operated by NASA JPL might have put communications for this mission at a disadvantage. I do think part of the lack of updates, though, also has to do with a tight time frame. On Friday, Mission Director Tim Crane said that the best case scenario was that the lander had 9 to 10 days of daylight. But unfortunately, we are not dealing with the best case scenario. Intuitive Machines said today that the solar panels will likely stop being exposed to light tomorrow on Tuesday. Mission Control doesn't expect to be able to communicate with the lander after tomorrow morning. That means they're likely spending all the time they do have downloading data before the lander goes dark. Basically, I think they grabbed whatever they could from this fisheye lens to release today, but we will get better quality photos later this week. EagleCam was a small camera that was supposed to deploy during landing. That didn't happen because of the safety switch issue with the laser rangefinders that forced Intuitive Machines to switch to NASA's onboard LiDAR right before descent and landing. The fixes they had to make basically shut off EagleCam and they didn't have time to go back in and fix it. However, there were plans to deploy EagleCam sometime over this weekend. If they accomplished it, it would have fallen about 30 meters away from the spacecraft and taken pictures. Hopefully that worked. The Intuitive Machines team did say that they didn't have commanding ability of EagleCam yet as of Friday late afternoon, and that contributes to my suspicion that they're really having communications issues here. So, that is the status of the IM-1 mission as of Monday afternoon. There isn't much time left, so I think once communications are lost sometime tomorrow morning, we'll start getting more images and data later this week. Intuitive Machines is contracted for 3 lunar landings as part of NASA's CLIPS program, which is NASA's initiative to partner with private companies to deliver payloads to the surface of the moon. For more on that, see my previous video. That means that Intuitive Machines' priority here is to download as much descent and landing data as they can for the next 2 missions, both of which are scheduled for 2024, because I think we can all agree that we don't want the next one to tip over. Remember that this mission is not designed to last through lunar night. I detailed in a previous video why Intuitive Machines would send a lander all the way to the moon and didn't plan on it lasting through the cold lunar nights. But I do want to mention that SLIM, Japan's moon lander that also fell over, was also not designed to last through night on the moon. Well, it woke up and started communicating with Earth again today. We still don't know much about the health of the spacecraft, but we do know the communications equipment survived, so hey, that's at least some much needed good news. And it may mean that we have hope of Odysseus doing the same. I'll keep updating as more information comes in. I'm Swapna Krishna, and this is Ad Astra.